and welcome to Vibe Cafe. Today on the show we're talking about, can you be too young to fall in love? My name is Larry Nicodemus, and as always in the studio my co-host Otto Victor. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful.
Love is a beautiful thing, and it can happen to anyone at any place and any time. History is awash with countless examples of young people falling in love with older people. Take for example Emmanuel Macron. And he fell in love with his teacher at the age of 16 while she was 39. And this is 24 years later, and still they're waxing strong.
Yes, but I believe that you can be too young to fall in love. You know that saying, age is nothing but a number? I don't believe it. It's not true. It's more than a number. For relationships to thrive, I feel you need to have maturity, responsibility, but most importantly, a good understanding. And these are things that teenagers or young children don't possess.
There she goes again. Anyway, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back. It's still the Vibe Cafe, and here with me is still my gorgeous Larry Nicodemus.
Hey!
And before we went on the break, she was talking about some elements that we need before you can consider yourself, how would I put it?
Old enough to go in a relationship.
Yes, up to the task
of being in a relationship.
So
yes.
what are
it's more than just you know, the teenage crush of, oh, I like this guy, falling in love, oh, I like this girl. If you want to get in a relationship or go into a relationship, there are certain things that you need to have.
Okay. Maturity,
responsibility, sound judgment, because you need to know if somebody is good enough for you, if this is what you're actually looking for in the relationship. And those are things that young people don't really possess.
Okay, I think I'll start from maturity.
Okay.
You said maturity, meaning you have to be mature before you can go into a relationship.
Yes.
You say young people do not possess this. But then we find lots of people, in quotes, older people who are into relationships, and then you see them fumble because of the kind of ways
because it's just a way of life. It happens.
Okay, so that's meaning to an extent that maturity isn't a key tool to be in a relationship.
It's one of the things that needed to be in a relationship,
okay,
or for a relationship to succeed.
Okay, let's talk about sound judgment. But before I talk about sound judgment, I've heard the quote, love is selfless.
Okay.
You understand? And when you say selfless, meaning it goes beyond just the material things.
Okay.
Love sacrifices many things to make things work, especially when it seems things are really tough. So in a situation where the young people come together to, let's say, a young boy of 16 and a young girl of probably 14 decide to fall in love and come into a relationship, I usually think it is pure. There is no how do I put it? The language is stability that most of the elderly girls or older ladies look for when going into a relationship. You find them looking for doctors, lawyers, someone that has a steady job. But if you look at it deeply, is that really love? Because
okay, wait. The thing is, first of all, when you talk about sound judgment, this is what I mean. When teenagers, when growing up, the changes that occur in your system, your body, your mind, the way you see things. When I was much younger, when somebody asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'll tell them, oh, I want to be a pilot. And then ask me that same question in the next 3 years, I'll tell you, I want to be an actress. Ask me that. So we keep growing, we keep changing. So there's no stability. Same thing happens for relationships and emotions. As teenagers, it's natural by design, biologically, that you are pushed by your hormones. Everything about you change as you grow older. Same things you're going to like this month, you might not like the next month. So that's what I mean by instability and sound judgment.
When you say instability, I think I still see most of that in the older folks as well.
Okay.
You see them change. I know of people who change from this month. You ask, what about your girlfriend or what about your boyfriend? You'd be like, we're no longer together. Because
now these people know exactly what they're looking for.
So they keep changing still. So there's still that aspect of instability.
Sometimes they don't find what they're looking for and they settle. It's different from not knowing what you want. Let me give you an instance. In I think my year 2 or 1 or something, I used to like guys that are trendy, dressing a certain way, skinny jeans, looking nice and all of that. But those things right now, if I see them, I go upset.
Okay.
Why would you be dressing like this at this age? Why not wear a corporate outfit? It's sexier that way. So the things I used to like as a teenager or when I was much younger. I'm still young, but
no, but
I
think to an extent too, there is a bit of a problem with the way I see how you judge or would grade someone you want to be in a relationship with, based on what he's wearing. Fine, I understand that, okay, you want your man to look a certain way, but then the kind of man you want might probably be on a jean or skinny jean or whatever on a particular kind of day, which might not be his regular outfit, or his mindset might actually be the perfect person for you. Probably you guys think alike.
There's no excuse for that. The colored caps and the colored hats and the colored shirts, the skinny tights. No, there's no excuse for that. Good day, bad day, I don't get.
But I want to ask you a question. If, as a mother, a child comes to you, your own child comes to you, and she's like, "I love you, mommy," do you doubt that child's love for you?
No, of course not.
Why?
Because the child loves you.
Exactly my point.
Well, that's not the kind of love we're talking about.
Yes, but
we're talking about the kind of love that will lead to relationship.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to state here is the fact that a young person, as young as a child, can actually know. I don't know if you're getting. It might not be this kind. It might not be the kind of emotional.
You can love somebody. You can have crushes on people. You can say, "Oh, I like this girl." But going as far as saying you want to get in a relationship is what I don't endorse. We're going to talk more about that. Let's go on a quick break. When we get back, more on this topic coming your way. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. It's still Vibe Cafe, and if you're just joining us, we're on the topic: can you be too young to fall in love? If you want to be a part of the show, you can join us. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Tell us whatever it is you want us to discuss on the show, or if you want to be a part of the show, drop your comments, and we'll be glad to take them as they come. Lauren.
Yeah.
Onto this issue at hand. You say, okay, for you, for instance, now, do you think it could ever happen to you?
What's that?
That's fallen in love at a younger age, as in...
I'm older.
You're older. Okay, at this stage, falling in love with somebody who is way older than you.
How old?
Let's say 20 years older than you.
No, I can't.
Okay, but you're pushing this. You're saying it's not possible that it cannot work for a younger person to fall in love with an older person. But what about the case of the French president? It did work out for them.
That's one exception to the rule.
Okay, one exception. There's a more as well.
Wait, let's take the statistics right here. You had a first love, didn't you?
Yes.
I did, right? So why aren't you with the person right now? So many other people, they dated several people before they eventually found the soulmates. So one person making it work doesn't mean every other person is going to make it work.
But then we're having... yes, you're taking that statistics. Let us also look at the statistics that there are some people who are old enough to get married, and then they are married, but then the rate of divorces we have is also on the high side too. So meaning, to a large extent, these older people are it's not even working out for them as well.
It is.
How come? We are talking about
people get divorced, yes, but some people still stay till they're old. And it's not a rare case of one not one.
Aside from divorces, we hear of abuse as well. So these are signs or telltale signs that these marriages are not working.
Let's even forget about the part of being not being mature enough to handle a relationship. There's also this part of scars. I was reading an article online and they said that being heartbroken at a tender age would give you scars. Like, you'd find it really difficult to move on, and it might even affect some areas of your life, e.g. Your academics, your grades in school. It might even affect it because you feel, oh, this is the love of your life, and you're all entangled in this love bubble, and all of a sudden it doesn't work out the way you planned for it to work out, and it starts affecting the way you perform in school, how you relate to people. So that's another thing that gets me concerned when it comes to people falling in love at a rather young age.
Do you know that people are talking about experience, that is as a criteria to being in a relationship? But then I believe that once you take out that experience, that part of experience, it makes the whole idea of being romantically involved in a relationship with a person, it makes it the more pure. How do I mean? If, for instance, based on the fact that I've had several experiences in relationships, and then based on this, I meet somebody who is flawless. But because of my past experiences, I will continue to filter that person based on all of these ideas or events that has happened to me in the past, and not treat the person based on what I see at present.
Okay, so exactly now you're saying...
It makes things complicated.
So you're saying if you fall in love when you're young and you have all these bad experiences when you're older... What
I'm saying is when you are younger, without all of these experiences, it makes life or love easier.
But it always doesn't work out. That's what I'm saying.
How do you know?
Especially, okay, I had this friend way back then in secondary school, I think like... when we were about writing final exams, and she was saying she was a really friendly person, she was outgoing, and eventually she met this guy she really liked and started cutting off all her friends. Because to her, this one person was all she needed.
Okay.
Do you understand? So this sort of things happen. You start to isolate yourself because you feel, oh, this is what I needed and I'm having it. Do you understand? So all of those things, me personally, I don't.
Okay, you stated an example of yours. Let me give you one of mine. I have a friend who has an elder brother who at a very young age, he and his girlfriend, I think it was at the very first instance they met. When I say met, I think you understand what I'm saying. There was conception.
Okay.
From that point in time, they did not define, because they were young, many other things came into play. What affects the adult life, which is how are you going to cater for all of this? But then the parents understood and decided, okay, we are going to take care of this aspect of your lives. But then when you are matured enough to take care of that angle, but when it relates or pertains to the emotional side or how these two care about each other, they stuck to each other till today. They have their second child and they are doing well.
That's another thing I was going to talk about. Teenage pregnancy.
Okay.
You fall in love, you're saying, oh, this is the most beautiful thing that has happened. There's a tendency these children will not just end it in the innocence, intimacy level. They would want to take it a step further, which is the reason all of these things happen. And we see children without fathers and without mothers, and these things actually destroy them. You can be a part of this conversation. Follow us on our Twitter, Instagram handle @Vibe Cafe. Tell us everything you think about this topic, and be sure to drop your comments because we are going to respond to them. On that note, we've come to the end of this particular segment, but we're bringing the fashion your way. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Vibe Cafe. This is the fashion and lifestyle segment. Today I have a makeup artist, professional makeup artist in the studio who's going to be telling us how to get our brows right. I have none other than the CEO of Ellesvisage, Utomi. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to the studio today.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, so you're a professional makeup artist?
Yes, I am. I actually do makeup for different kind of occasions, from bridal makeup to the normal, what they call the Owambe makeup, party rockers, then to special effects. Then I also train students who would want to go down the career path to becoming professional makeup artists.
All right. That's lovely. What does it take, or how do we get our brows right? Because I've seen lots of people, girls, who walk around with brows that are too thick, too thin, overly highlighted, not blended enough. So how do we get our brows right?
And don't forget to say red brows. Actually, I've seen that a lot of times.
Horrible.
It's really whenever I see that, it takes me like, seriously, is this happening? And I just wish I could actually talk about it, but I'm glad I'm having the opportunity to do that here today. Getting perfect brows, or getting your brows right, you just have to follow what God has given you. If you have bushy brows, you cannot trim them properly yourself. Go meet a professional who will help you do that and get the actual natural shape of your brow. And when you're doing that, when you're about to define your brows, you need a pencil, just not red, but something close to your natural brow color, and that way it looks natural, and you don't, the whole point is less is more, because if you do too much, it looks really awful.
Okay, so what color of a brow pencil am I supposed to use for my skin?
For your skin tone, brown is better.
Okay.
Brown or something dark brown, so that if you have dark hairs, it doesn't. It's not so far from the color of your hairs.
All right, that's really good. But show us, because you're talking, I'm hearing a lot of words, but I'm still not getting it. So please show us how we can get our brows right.
We need about 4 items, or let's say 5. You need a spoolie to brush the brow, but if you don't have one, you can actually get a toothbrush you're not using. Then you need an angled brush. This is what it looks like. Then you also need a blending brush to blend out any harsh lines your concealer might give you. You need a brow pencil. This is a brow pencil. Then you need 2 shades of concealer, a lighter shade and your actual shade of concealer, to enable you do a perfect brow. So before you start, if you're not so good with doing your brows, you have to measure. Your brow has to start from the end of your nose, this part, and ends this way. Then the arc, what they call the arc, is on this part of the eye, the brow bone, where you have your brow bone. That is where you have your arc. That's where you really need to highlight to make it stand out, make it more defined. So I go in with my spoolie, I brush out the brow. Your pencil must be sharp at all times to get straight defined lines. Then you start shading from the bottom of your brow, the root. You shade in, then pull it down. Then you go to the top, just make 2 parallel lines. So that's it. Then you come in with your pencil to shade in this part, make it a bit darker. I don't like overly painting it so as to show some hair. Then you come with your spoolie and you brush out the penciling just to smoothen everything out. So I'll quickly go over to the next one. And try not to make the front part quite dark to prevent you from creating box brows, making them look boxy. You use your spoolie, brush out your pencil to smoothen everything out and blend them out evenly. So that's that for the penciling. Then we have to go into the highlighting. So I take a shade lighter than her, start to highlight from the brow bone with my angled brush. You try and trace beneath where you've penciled so that you don't clean off what you've done. So after doing this, you pull down your concealer down to your lid area just to smoothen it out and blend out any harsh line. And you can go in with your blending brush to blend out the concealer so as to remove any form of concealer lines. Do the same thing here. Go back again, blend it out. This will definitely help define your brows. Then you clean off, you don't make them come too close to each other. So for the top part, I go in with our own shade of concealer or foundation So that is being properly blended with blending brush to go over this one. And I'm going with my pencil to fill in any part I must have cleaned off by mistake. Brush everything in. And there, guys, that's how you get your perfect brows in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I've finally gotten to know the secret of this my glam look. Because you happen to be the makeup on set, you've been making us look fabulous all this while. So now I can do my brows perfectly, especially with what you said about measurements, because I've been bringing mine a bit too close when I do it myself. So thank you very much for coming on set. All right, so share your social media handle with us.
You can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Ellesvisage, ELLESVISAGE, or you can call me on my phone numbers 07061829321.
Okay, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
On that note, we've come to the end of this segment, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back. It's still Vibe Cafe. I'm sure you guys are having so much fun as we are here having that fun as well. There's a question I want to ask you, Lauren.
What's the question?
Who is your role model?
Oh, I have a couple of them. First of all, my mom.
Oh, so at this point, who are your role models?
No, wait. First of all, my mom, because she raised me to be the strong, independent, beautiful, everything woman that I am today.
Okay.
So I'm thankful for that. Secondly, being a presenter and all, I like Moabudu. She's a strong woman, entrepreneur, created lots of employments for people, male, female alike. I like what she's doing. I'd want to do something like similar with my brand. Second person or third person, Tuka Makinwa. She's brilliant, strong. I also like the fact that she's prayerful, spiritual, close to God. Yeah, she prays a lot.
They attend the same church.
No, we don't, but you can see that just by following her on social media.
Okay.
She's a great entrepreneur. She turns everything she touches turns to gold. So that's also something I admire about her. So yeah, basically those three.
I think we have something in common. I think that's the first role model. For me, is my dad.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
He told me to be humble, direct, and to be selfless.
Okay.
Every other stuff I think I got from him. Then as a presenter, I would say Olisa Duba. I like listening to him over and over again. I like the way he presented. I love the way he spoke on radio. And then the movies, because I love movies.
Okay.
Is this guy called Vin Diesel. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, of course I do.
A director, a producer.
Wait, do you also act?
Of course. What do you mean?
What?
If I show you action stunt, now only I can't die or jump into the river for one babe.
Alright, no problem.
But throw money into the river.
Okay, that's good. You're such a selfless, humble person. All the lessons they taught you, I can see them.
Thank you.
Very good.
With all of that out of the way, what is your vibe?
My vibe today is humility. Just like yourself. Yes, I like to be humble because, I mean, you can get everything if you just bring yourself down.
I like that. I already told you.
What's your vibe?
My vibe is purity.
Purity.
Pure.
I like that.
Pure. Just like love that we talked about today.
All right. Thank you so much for being a part of today's episode. It was amazing having you here. Follow us on our social media platforms at Vibe Cafe Show. And if you want to talk to us, mine is Lerin_Nicodemus.
Yes, follow me, tweet at me on Instagram and Twitter at OtterVictor.
On that note, we've come to the end of today's episode. Make sure to stay tuned next week, same time, same station, till we come your way again. Whatever your vibe is, make sure it's positive.